And I remember sitting, and I loved them. I had to love the makeup room. You know, I was in there, God, 4.5 hours every morning. And I would be sitting there, and Heather and Johnny would come in. You know, and they're like kids. And they would come in, and they would get pampered. They had these little fans, and they'd get massages, and they'd get makeup on. It's like they didn't need makeup, you know. And here I am getting basted, you know, with a turkey baster, you know, with KY jelly, you know. And there's always somebody poking at my eyes, and they're painting my teeth and popping in, you know, real primitive contact lenses, you know, the size of a coffee cup saucer, you know. And I'm trying to, you know, and I was like, looking, you know. So I had this vision, this flash of jealousy. You know, here I was putting on this makeup 4.5, 5 hours a day, and look at these two kids. They got their whole careers ahead of them, and you could tell they were both going to do real well. And so I could use that little jealousy, that envy of being in my 30s and doing a horror movie and not sure it was going to be a good one yet, and the aggravation of the makeup process, and kind of use all that and that envy of them as sort of actual subtext for Freddy. And I began telling really dirty jokes to Heather in the makeup room and stuff like that, and really kind of annoying her. And I was able to use that a little bit as we went, you know, onto the soundstage. Eaten Alive, even though it's horror and hardcore, and they canned Toby towards the end, and you know, and the editor wound up finishing the direction. And I've even heard rumors that in the Japanese version, there's sex shots that are supposedly me, but they're not, because it's obviously some Japanese porn star doubling me. I'm bigger. Anyway, but it still was this, in my memories of going to work there and driving onto that lot and seeing that set and hanging out with Oscar winners is a great memory, even though, you know, the movie is sort of now has a kind of a great cheesy rep and about 15 titles at last count. For a long time, people would come up to me, you know, when the internet was breaking and gamers were first starting, and come up and go, "Great graphics, dude," you know. But I think the one that I coined, which was off of an awkward line that really didn't fit in anyone's mouth. There's a frustrated actress in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, and I think, you know, the original line was something like, "You'll never make it," or you know, "You think you're an actress," or something like that, or "You want to be on TV, huh?" And I changed it to, "Welcome to prime time, bitch!" And proceeded to take the child and crush her face into the TV in the lounge. Freddy's favorite kill scene, I think, is probably the boy in Nightmare 6, Freddy's Dead, with the hearing aid, because it's so politically incorrect. You know, it's you know, that old, it's a sort of a flop on that old expression, that old cliche, "You can hear a pin drop," you know. Boy, can you hear a pin drop, you know. It's like an atomic bomb with Freddy. And I really love the way they played with that. I think it's just a great, shrew Freddy Krueger moment. I mean, you know, politically incorrect, mean, the cruel clown Freddy Krueger really getting even, you know, with one of his victims. One of my favorite kills in all of horror movies, though, is the splay in Silence of the Lambs, the butterfly fillet of Hannibal Lecter. You know, in Silence of the Lambs, that's a pretty great kill. Gosh, you know, it changes a lot. In recent years, I'm a big fan of Lucky McKee's film May, starring Angela Bettis. I'm a huge fan of that film. And there's something really wonderful about 28 Days Later that I like. When they were going to start breeding, and you know, they had them dressed up in those sort of prom dresses on the estate, and the soldiers were going to start breeding those two girls. It really got sublime for me there. I mean, there was some really great stuff there. Yeah, I like the genre a lot. I go back and forth on stuff. Well, I want to thank the Nightmare on Elm Street fans for being so loyal over these years and sort of passing the baton on to dorm roomies and to kid brothers and kid sisters, and going from video, following us from video to DVD to box sets to director's cuts and Freddy versus Jason. And I thank them because they've also, the universality of the films opened doors for me overseas. I've done 7 or 8 films now overseas. I'm directing overseas in Italy. These things, I don't think these things would have happened if it hadn't been for the Nightmare on Elm Street fans. I went to see them fans in Rome, Italy a number of years ago, after the millennium, and I met 2 wonderful, eccentric Italian directors there. And they brought me down to their little art theater in Sicily, and I walked in, and there was a poster of Sisters, the Brian De Palma film we talked about earlier, and there was a poster of my surfing movie for John Milius, Big Wednesday, on the wall. So I knew I had a simpatico. Then they handed me a cannoli and a shot of cognac, and I really knew I liked these guys.